We have a highly anticipated update in the ongoing legal and PR battle between former It Ends With Us co-stars Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Now, the headlines might have fooled you before, but this is a new lawsuit. Justin Baldoni is suing Blake Lively for $400 million in damages, mostly for defamation, but there is a whole list of other offenses here. The defendants are Blake Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, her publicist Leslie Sloan, as well as the publicist's firm Vision PR. And they are all going to be sued on claims of the following: civil extortion, defamation, false light invasion of privacy, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, intentional interference with contractual relations, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage, and negligent interference with prospective economic advantage. We are not legal scholars on this show, obviously, so we're not going to be able to decode what all of that jargon means. The main point is Blake Lively is about to get massively humbled, and a lot of people are comparing her to Amber Heard.
Yep.
They are saying that Blake Lively is Amber Heard 2.0. That could turn really ugly, especially considering that they were never in a relationship.
Amber Heard, changed her name and moved out of the country.
I mean, at least Blake Lively never shat in anyone's bed.
She's got that going.
She's got that going.
At least
for
as far
her.
as we know.
As far as we know, Blake Lively is not shat in anyone's bed.
Ryan's like, I could tell you some stories.
Right. $400 million is probably close to their collective net worth as a couple.
There's a 20 there from Dr. Larcena.
Apropos of comfort purchases, so basically you're saying moderation and common sense are needed. Problem is that common sense has become rare on the subject of what woke right means. I'd love to hear Phil's take. I'm sure that Phil has
the beauty of my job is I don't have to care. I can scroll right past all those tweets and be like, wah, wah, wah.
And we just talk about drama.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to find out what the internet says Ryan Reynolds' net worth is.
It's over $1 billion,
because he's going to be bankrolling this whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has an estimated net worth of $350 million. Now let's see about Blake Lively. It's got to be less than that, significantly.
Wait, how much is his net worth?
350 is the estimate.
I thought he was a billionaire.
Looks like, according to the internet, he's not, but these things are
Okay.
never exactly accurate. Blake Lively's net worth is estimated at around $30 million.
Okay.
They do have
Just
a lot
a
of
measly
powerful
30 million?
friends, though. But I'm just going to read a few excerpts from this lawsuit. I almost feel like I should become a lawyer because they get to be so petty. The way that this is worded is so dramatized. They say, at bottom, this is not a case about celebrities sniping at each other in the press. This is a case about two of the most powerful stars in the world deploying their enormous power to steal an entire film right out of the hands of its director and production studio. He's saying they're hijacking his film.
Yep.
When plaintiffs have their day in court, the jury will recognize that even the most powerful celebrity cannot bend the truth to her will. I don't even think they're honestly flattering Blake Lively to call her this mega powerful A-lister. She is definitively C-list. Ryan Reynolds is the more famous and powerful of the two of them.
Ryan Reynolds is an A-lister. She's a C-lister, which makes her a solid B+ lister.
She gets to be B+ just because of him?
Sure.
She's also friends with Taylor Swift. That will come up in a few minutes. But I also want to read more from the beginning of this lawsuit. It literally is written like a novel. It's written like the beginning of a novel, a Colleen Hoover book. The following is not a story plaintiffs ever wished to tell. Unfortunately, defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice, not only to set the record straight in response to her accusations, but also to put the spotlight on the parts of Hollywood that they have dedicated their careers to being the antithesis of. People cannot... Their grammar is just atrocious here. That task was always going to be an uphill battle. They never imagined they would encounter it to this degree. Had Blake Lively chosen to merely ride out the self-inflicted press catastrophe she faced in August 2024, the public would have likely moved on and never known the truth about her. They would have never known that she deliberately and systematically robbed Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios of their movie. No one except the parties involved would have known that she used threats and extortion to relegate the colleagues she once highly praised to a basement to sit out their own premiere while she enjoyed the spotlight of a premiere and after party that was ultimately co-financed by both Wayfarer Studios and Sony.
Here's the photos.
We have the photo evidence of Justin Baldoni and his so-called dream team in the basement. In the basement at the premiere of his own movie. It's right there.
It is. It's a
Thank you.
very moving image. I mean, there actually is something visually striking about seeing the actual photo evidence of somebody who spent his own money to make this movie being relegated to the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what these people expect to happen. Like, there's a level of delusion that only a real-life supervillain could have. Mm-hmm. There's a level of hubris that only someone that arrogant or that actually vicious, villainous could have. Mm-hmm. To think that the photo and text evidence is not going to come out. They're very confident about this. And Justin Baldoni's lawyer himself is making public comments saying, let's publish everything. Mm-hmm. Let's put it all out there for the public to make their own conclusion, because it will show, unlike the doctored screenshots that were included in the New York Times piece, mm-hmm. the New York Times, which is still getting sued by Justin Baldoni, by the way, it will show that Blake Lively's accusations against him were unfounded. Yeah.
So, and now she's fired back and saying that this lawsuit is proof that you're an abuser.
Blake Lively's legal team gave a response in The Hollywood Reporter. They say, "This is an age-old story. A woman speaks up with concrete evidence of sexual harassment and retaliation, and the abuser attempts to turn the tables on the victim. This is what experts call DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender."
It's like in the admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations.
That's a really pathetic response there.
From everything that I've read from Colonel Kurtz and everyone else, she was the one who had problems with intimacy coordinators and such things. I don't think anybody comes out of this looking good.
Not even Justin Baldoni?
I don't know. I mean,
because so far everyone seems to be on his side.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, think about how big of a turnaround that is, considering this came out just before we went off for Christmas break, a couple weeks before Christmas. So a lot has happened. Yeah. And then do you want to explain to people, just for the sake of it, how Taylor Swift was involved? Because this was, first of all, this is only funny because you can see the media entities using it as a way to grab clicks.
Right. Well, everyone knows that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are both friends with Taylor Swift and deeply familiar with her tactics in the public eye, the way that she tries to throw different people in an unflattering light. Her feuds with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, for instance, many other examples. Blake Lively used Taylor Swift's fame to threaten Justin Baldoni with career ruin.
I got the text here.
Yeah. And in the most cringy way possible. That's the only way I can describe it.
She's Khaleesi.
Blake Lively used her friend Taylor Swift's fame to threaten Justin Baldoni with complete career ruin. Here was her text message in a screenshot from the lawsuit. Here is a text from Blake to Justin. "If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons. For better or worse, but usually for better. Because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. Smiley face emoji. You will too. I can promise you.
She will. She's not beating those mean girl accusations. That is for sure. If you're
like, you're a mean girl and you're cringy.
Yeah.
You're a mean girl and you're this cringy. Like, that's quite the self-own.
So basically what happened is like she she summoned Justin to her penthouse to read some rewrites she did to the script, and then she had like Taylor Swift like look in and be like, hey, I really liked your version of it. And he basically said to her like, look, I would have liked it anyways, even if you didn't like assault me with Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift telling me how great your version of it was.
Blake Lively's dragons, her monsters, are Taylor Swift and her husband Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying those people aren't powerful, and I bet Justin Baldoni probably thought they did have the power to ruin him.
I like the
until
idea.
he turned the tables.
I mean,
on
the
him.
best part of that is she's also shaming him for not seeing Game of Thrones.
Right? Like, what is that?
On top of that, she's like, "What? You're not hip?
Aren't you busy? How do you have all this time on your hands?"
He's like, I work for a living. You don't have to do shit. Like, just because you can sit at home and watch Game of Thrones every night. And this was like, what, 2019? So he's like, nobody watched that last season anyways.
Brian Friedman gave a statement yesterday saying this lawsuit is action based on an overwhelming amount of untampered evidence detailing Blake Lively and her team's duplicitous attempt to destroy Justin Baldoni, his team, their respective companies, by disseminating grossly edited, unsubstantiated, new and doctored information to the media. It's clear, based on our own all-out willingness to provide all complete text messages, emails, video footage, and other documentary evidence that was shared between the parties in real time, that this is a battle she will not win and will certainly regret. Blake Lively was either severely misled by her team or intentionally and knowingly misrepresented the truth. She will never again be allowed to continue to exploit actual victims of real harassment solely for her own personal reputation gain at the expense of those without power. Let's not forget, Blake and her team attempted to bulldoze reputations and livelihoods for heinously selfish reasons through their own dangerous manipulation of the media before even taking any actual legal action. We know the truth, and now the public does too. Justin and his team have nothing to hide. Documents do not lie. So when he's referring to her trying to bulldoze Justin Baldoni's career before taking legal action, he means that Blake filed a civil complaint, which was not available to the public viewing until she leaked it to the New York Times.
Yep.
And not only that, but Justin Baldoni's publicist at the time, Stephanie Jones, had a hand in making that happen. Out of a spirit of revenge, Justin Baldoni's own publicist at the time actually turned over the screenshots of these explosive text messages, which were then abridged to deceive people in the New York Times piece to make Blake Lively look like a victim. That was all before Blake Lively actually went the full length of filing a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. And I'm actually surprised because I thought that he was going to keep it to just a lawsuit against the New York Times, but it was inevitable that this had to happen.
I don't think it can be understated. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my own personal thought, but like, this is a very powerful image. Like, these are the people that you worked really hard with on to create something. Making a movie is an extremely lengthy and arduous process. It's not easy to get something, like, they'll talk a lot of times about just, it's a miracle that any movie gets done at all. It takes hundreds of people. It's extremely expensive. And to see a bunch of people who were involved in the production of this film just relegated to a basement, but still smiling, is actually quite a powerful image if you're read up on the story.
This photo actually corroborates exactly what Justin Baldoni was saying in the voice note that was featured on Megyn Kelly's show.
Yeah.
He said, you know, we were locked in this basement because Blake wanted me as far away from her as possible.
And he still
I was
keeps
there with all my friends and my family.
Keeping a smile on his face
we're
and
laughing.
making the best of it. Like, it makes him an unbelievably sympathetic character.
Yeah, like, we're laughing at the absurdity of it all. This could become a movie in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I bet that Colleen Hoover, the author of the book It Ends With Us, whom sold the rights for this movie, feels like a clown right now.
I'm just saying, if we're talking about he wants to go before a judge and jury, like that type of image can sway a lot of people.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.